Well, good evening, everyone. So, someone having problems logging in. They asking for passwords or something. I'm not sure what that's about. You guys have any problem? I don't think. Sorry about this. This is so painful using technology. The screen share here. Yeah, that's it. Broadcast.
That little thing go.
I think I should be able to bring up the actual mantra itself that we are singing, chanting. And I'm hoping you can see that now on your Zoom screen. Om Saha Navatu Navavatu Saha Now Bunatu Saha Viryam Kapālabhāti. I haven't looked at the mantra itself in a long time. Looked at the words. I was skipping over it. These, when there's really not spaces written into Devanagari or actually any other script that Sanskrit is encoded in. Like we speak English, but we use Arabic script. So it's the script, and they don't leave spaces. There's no spaces between any letters. So that's part of the issue with translating Sanskrit. So this transliteration I have, everything's just, some of the stuff is squished together, so I was a little confused on that. So I'm going to ask that we begin with just a recitation of this. You can chant along, or you can just read along, or whatever you like. I'm going to ask you to remain seated for today. You good?
Mm-hmm.
So let's find a very comfortable seated position, and our helms are,
Right on
must be a
cue.
siren going by. Actually, I'm going to come on and sit out here with you tonight and just have a quick little talk. We're going to need a few things to support our body later on. We're going to be rolling around a little bit. A bolster or something that we can lay on and support our body. It's just a few inches thick that'll support most of our torso. This is called a booby bar, and Tara has scientifically designed these in order for women to use these in specific places, but I use them for everything as a really nice support. And also, very often I want something between my legs or something, and this is actually designed for that. So there's various pillows, blankets, whatever you find will work tonight. We are also going to be working with a type of somatic movement that's a little bit different than what we have done, that I've done with you folks that I'm seeing right here. And this is called pandiculation. And this is a beautiful, beautiful way to take advantage of the natural intelligence of the human body. So pandiculation occurs on the release of a movement. Okay, so for example, in order for me to raise my lower arm, I need to engage the bicep complex here, and the tricep complex needs to release. So pandiculation occurs, you engage to wherever it feels comfortable for you, and I'm just engaging here. And then you slowly as possible release, feeling into the extension of the muscle under a load. The load's just the weight of the arm, it's not very much. So for something that doesn't weigh much, you can bring the other hand and just bring a little bit of pressure, pressing up on the bottom hand just a little bit down, and equal that pressure, but let the top hand win. And this allows the muscles to lengthen under load, and they lengthen by relaxing and not stretching. There's just a whole host of literature that stretching, especially static stretching, really, at best, has no effect, and at worst, actually has a deleterious effect. So it deletes your ability to engage your muscles, lose control of them. And something happens to yogis quite often once you try to push it too far. Every time, when you go for the maximum extent that they can move, every time with every inch they have. The human body's not designed for that. Maybe every once in a while, but not on a daily basis. So we're going to be doing some of this pandiculation. We're going to be doing it on heavier parts of the body, and I will let you know when we're going to do that. We're moving slowly. We're bringing all of our awareness inside. We're developing awareness through movement, awareness of what's happening inside, but we're also developing this awareness on what's happening on the outside, the spatial awareness around us as we move the way we move, and also the porosity of the interface between what's inside and outside, and just how artificial that actually can be. All right, so from any comfortable seated position, it doesn't have to be something like this. It just has to be something comfortable for you. It can be sitting in a chair. Okay? If you're sitting in a chair, just make sure that your knees are slightly below your hip joints. Your hip joints are right here. And your knees, any seat that you have, let's get them below, the knees below the hip joints. So I'm actually going to take a little seat here. This might be a little much for me, but it's what I have right now. With any seated pose, let's find a seated pose, and let's work in somatically into that seated position, just very slowly with a little pelvic rock. We were doing these last week. Just slowly on the inhale, allow the spot 2 inches beneath the navel to expand and soften. The whole belly softening, but allow the back to soften. Allow the space between the belly and the spine to increase on the inhale. So breathing into the lower back as well as the belly, but not with force, by relaxing, by allowing the body to open to accept the breath. exhale, allow the navel just to tone a little bit, that same spot, and allow the back to lengthen down. Very often what happens when we inhale, we actually try to press away from the earth, allow the pelvis to be heavy. On the exhale, allow the back to lengthen just a little bit. As the navel comes in, that supports the lower spine. Inhale, notice that the pelvis is rocking ever so slightly forward and back, just your breath. Bring your full awareness to this point, 2 inches lower than the navel, halfway between the back and the front, right in the center of your body. Another place 2 inches lower than the navel. Inhale, feel the chest expand, the belly relax, the whole front of the body relaxes, the back does contract a little bit, but allow the pelvis to be heavy, and allow the tail to lift up. And that's just through relaxation, relaxing the back muscles, not fully engaged. On that inhale, next time you exhale, just feel the chest not decrease in size. Just allow your chest to stay in the inhale shape. Nails just coming in a little tone. It's not a lot of energy. Just supports the back a little bit on the exhale. Keep the shape. Inhale again. Softening in the belly. Feeling a little lift as the ribs get a little bit bigger. You can't keep them that big. Hold them big once again and exhale. And now, keep it full. Release this down here and let yourself just inhale by keeping the chest open through your nose. And now force this position in. So you can feel the breath come out the nose and then release the belly. Let yourself inhale by relaxing. Usually the diaphragm engages to inhale. When the diaphragm engages, the chest expands. What we're trying to do is just exhale fully from the belly. And the inhale just relaxes the belly and let that have the body become bigger, the inhale happens. So we're pulling in and up. Just on the exhale. We're not breathing in. Slowly. Feel that come in, and the air come out. Open the nostrils, let the air come back in. This is called kapālabhāti breathing. It starts to bring us into awareness. Keep our bodies soft and easy. This is not a hard practice. We're going to do this for 2 minutes. Take a nice big breath. Find that fullness of the chest and then exhale sharply. Let it inhale. Getting longer each one. Tall. Back is long and soft. Don't force the inhale, just the exhale. Relax completely in between. Doesn't have to be as fast as me. Don't make it any faster than I'm doing it. Soften in the back. Every one of the exhales allow the back to soften a little. Become longer. Let yourself just relax for a few moments. Bring awareness to your entire body at once. So you can sense every sensation. Sometimes you start to get strange feelings from kapālabhāti. The reason we do it slow and only breathe on the exhales, we do not want this to turn into something where we hyperventilate. this to be a purely physical process without trying to excite the mind by depriving it of carbon dioxide. Alkalinization of the blood system. It's really not all that good of a thing to do with our bodies. So begin to slowly, somatically, with full awareness, begin to make your way onto your bellies, lying on your bellies. I'm just cleaning up my space here a little bit. See what kind of visibility we have here. That's okay, I think that's going to be fine where that bolster is in my leg. So just find someplace that's comfortable where you can lie and put your palm of your left hand on the back of your right hand and turn your head gently towards your left elbow. So your right cheek is on the back of your left hand. And just begin to allow your body to adjust to being out of gravity. Now, if this is really, really difficult for you to lie on the floor like this, you can try to find some cushions or bolsters that will help support you. But we are going to be moving from this position for most of this class. So just notice where your weight is carried on the floor. See if you can allow yourself to soften. Notice your inhales are restricted. The way we are breathing into the belly. You breathe into the belly, feel the back lift. And then exhale. And don't try to prevent that back from lifting. That's a secondary movement. Just let it go along for the ride, becoming longer and softer. This whole practice is about becoming longer and softer. So let's just begin to interrogate the weight of parts of our body. So go ahead and bend both knees. So your feet are pointing more or less towards the sky. Find a place that's relatively comfortable for you. And slowly as you can, in fact, you might not even want to lift to begin with. You might just want to organize to lift your left elbow, your left hand, and your head all together, keeping the right cheek and the left, back of the left hand together, the elbow lifting. Just notice how heavy the head feels right now. Set her back down slowly. Let yourself melt back down into the earth. Now bring your awareness to your right knee. And try to organize your body to begin to lift your right knee. Feeling how heavy that is, not jerking it off the ground, but slowly allowing it to become lighter, maybe not lifting all the way. You'll notice I didn't lift my knee. I was just feeling, and I did this practice earlier today. Still feels heavy now. Feels heavy now. Didn't feel heavy earlier, but lighter than it did when I began this morning. So this is the basic movement we're going to be doing. So keeping your knees bent. Let's come back now and slowly begin to lift the head and the left arm as one unit. And don't really think about lifting. Think about where the weight has to go, how much weight is on your chest and on your head. And when you begin to lift those, where does that weight go? And slowly lift, come back down slowly over as you can. This could be a pandiculation, but we're not really doing this as a pandiculation. So on the exhale, allow that point beneath the navel to come up towards the back of the spine as perhaps the weight begins to come down into your pelvis and slowly release back down. The exhale brings the pubic bone towards the floor. That becomes now part of the transition of weight from the upper body towards the pelvis as we lift. Trying to relax repetition doesn't mean doing the same thing each time. It means varying it. So how can we vary this movement right now? You might want to think about lifting the elbow first, and then the head, maybe coming into a little twist, allowing the eyes to look towards the ceiling. That might be a little different movement now. You might feel the weight shift to the right lower part of the body, maybe to the right hips, the right pelvis. So that's a little different movement. Go ahead and set the left arm back down. Extend the legs for just a moment. Now bend the knees again. And now let's bring our awareness to that right leg once again. Slowly organize. And think about where the weight has to shift as your right knee begins to lift. To me, it shifts to the pelvis, on the right side of the pelvis. I'm doing it on the exhale, so I'm feeling the pubic bone start to bear some of the weight. As I lift the knee gently, where does the weight go? Relax into the back. My belly's even lifting up just a little bit off the ground. And slowly and easily. We don't want it to move fast. We don't want to use force. We want to use integration and organization. So maybe one more time. You can try changing maybe moving the knee out or in a little bit. Just make it more important about where the weight is shifting to rather than what's lifting off the ground. That makes it much less performative, much more shape, less shape oriented. And just think about where's the weight going in the body? How does the rest of your body absorb the movement? You might even feel your left knee becoming engaged in the left side. Lifting as the right side becomes heavier to help that leg lift. Go ahead and set the legs down, but tuck the toes under now. Lift the head a little bit. If ever your neck starts to become stiff, then don't hold it. Don't hold it to the right. Go ahead and bring your forehead to the top. We can do it like this with the forehead down. Put the forehead down now. We'll do what? Press the heels back away from the body, making the legs long and the toes press a little bit more into the floor, and then press the toes down, drawing the heels up. Feeling the whole front of your body slip sliding on your skeleton. Alright, so go ahead and bend the knees once again. Turn your head to the left if you're turning your head to the left. If you're keeping your head, the forehead down, that's fine too. But now we are going to lift the left arm and the head and the right leg at the same time. Allowing the weight to come into the part of the body that's still on the floor. You might even still feel a little engagement in the left leg, and then slowly, slowly together, one movement, come down. And just a couple more times, just feeling that left shoulder and right hip coming closer together. And the right shoulder to the left hip is coming closer to the floor. That's where the weight is coming. Right? The left hip, we can still feel it on the right hip, but feel it. The right hip's lifting as the leg lifts, left shoulder's lifting. And then go ahead and allow your legs to relax back down. Pick your head up, extend your right arm up overhead, look at your right fingers, bring your left hand to push-up position and roll yourself over onto your back for just a moment. Allow your legs to be long and just begin to notice for just a minute how it feels to be lying on the floor. how does it feel to be me with this body on this earth in this moment? And how can I be softer? How can I be easier? How can I find no destination? Just the act of being. And bring your knees to folding. We've spent a little bit of time on our belly there, so what I'm going to ask you to do is allow your back to relax down. So maybe press the feet into the floor just a little bit from here. You can try moving your feet closer, further apart. I like to have my feet underneath my knees and my feet a little bit wider than the hips. And just roll, allow the lower back to lengthen and soften. And then, what I'm going to ask you to do is bring your right palm behind your head and slowly begin to bring your left knee up over your chest a little bit, and the right foot is still easy on the ground. So I'm going to ask you now to do the exact opposite of what we were doing on the back. We're going to lift the head in the right arm, and the left knee is going to come towards the right elbow just a little. This is somatic. We're not doing crunches or anything. And slowly back down. Now let's do this as a pandiculation. Next time, we bring the knee towards the elbow on an exhale. We've engaged this whole front part of the body from right shoulder to left. On the exhale, do it as slowly as you can. Bring the head down and the knee away. And try to relax in the direction of the knee to the elbow. Let's just do that one more time. Inhale. Try to expand into the lower back, expand into the belly, expand into the chest as you come back down slowly. The awareness on the lengthening of the muscles. It's the muscles in the front of the body that are contracting, becoming shorter. And inhale. Just slowly allow the knee to come away from the elbow. Just feel into that. Let's go ahead and change sides now. Bring the hand behind the head. And we're going to gently bring the right knee up over chest, wherever's comfortable. Don't try to force this. We're not trying to force anything. We're trying to bring the elbow and the knee to get towards each other. Just towards each other, not together. That's not it. All of the interesting stuff here is going to be on the release, the pandiculation. Finding the length from the knee all the way to the opposite elbow in your body. That's all being engaged on every exhale. Diagonal line. Inhale to release it. And one more time. Slow as you can. Feel the expansion. Don't worry about the back part. Just let the back part be soft. Everything's holding you up is in the front here. Allow it to lengthen. Using your breath to expand. Extend your legs and just come to rest on your back for just a moment. And just feel if that made any difference between the right side and the left side, and how open your body feels, how soft your ribs feel. Moving the chest cavity, the ribs in different directions tonight. So let's go ahead and put that right arm back up overhead, left knee down. Let's roll on back over to our belly. And let's bend the knees once again. So now we're going to bring the right hand on top of the left, and we're going to turn our head so that we're facing
to the right elbow. Just give yourself a moment or two here. Try to find a comfortable place. This is so much different for me, turning my head this way than the other way. Feel your breath into the floor, into the earth. Feel it being accepted, your back lifting on the inhale. Subtly lengthening. Our body lengthens in the front and the back and the sides when we're lying on the floor like this. Just become that expansion. Without words, without thoughts, without symbols. Just become the expansion of the inhale and the contraction of the exhale. Recognizing that that is everything, expansion and contraction. Alright, so once again, if you don't ever bring yourself into a position where you're going to be feeling discomfort, we don't want to associate movement of the human body with discomfort. It's designed for comfortless, lifetime wear if it's used well. So, and bring your forehead to your hand if you want to lift this way. And just slowly begin to feel the weight of your head on this side. And notice not just the weight of the head, but where that weight has to go in order for the head to easily lift. You have some memory of the other side, which is very good. Your body can learn from that movement. But you also have expectations now. You worked on the other side for a little while, and you probably got a little more open. You could probably lift a little bit further. Well, don't expect the other side to be there yet. Slow and easy. Less is more. I like to exhale as I lift so I can feel my pubic bone begin to press and really use that pubic bone. This is really the fulcrum for moving the body, that space. Maybe you can bring a little twist into this as we did last time. Just a little twist, see how that feels. You notice I'm not coming up as much on this side as the other side. It's just not as easy for me. Give yourself a little break. Bring your head to neutral. You can come up into kind of a little sphinx pose with your lower arms on the floor if that feels good for you. Let your head hang. Feel the length from the back of your head all the way down to the tailbone. Allow your belly to be soft on the floor. So the bend in the back is in the upper back. That's where it bends. And bring yourself back down, facing to the right elbow. The left ear at the top of the right hand. Bring the knees to standing. And now feel the weight of the left foot. Lifting the left foot. Where does the weight of the leg have to transfer in order for the leg to lift? It has to go somewhere else in the body. Try lifting on the exhale, inhaling, and using the lengthening and expansion of the body to slowly bring the leg back down. And bringing the leg down only begins when it hits the floor. Think about lifting and then slowly lowering it down. And once it hits the floor, don't let go. Continue to slowly release until the floor completely accepts the leg. It's a very different sensation. It's not just about repetitive lifting and putting down. It's about the sensations associated with those without a story. Inhaling. Letting it down. Slowly. What's happening on the opposite side? How does the weight shift throughout your entire body as the earth accepts the weight of that left leg coming down? And now slowly begin to lift the right arm and head and the left leg. Where does the weight have to go? Into the pelvis, into the belly, into that place between the pubic bone and the navel. That the pubic bone is feeling the pressure of the floor. Go ahead and allow your legs to come along now. Bring your head to the center. And I'm going to invite you to bring your hands towards the side of your body into either a push-up position up underneath the shoulders, or maybe even down a little bit closer to the lower ribs here. I'm going to ask you to roll in a way to bring your right knee up towards your left elbow on the floor. And then slowly bring it back down. And then come to the opposite side. Slowly feel the friction of the floor. Slowly and easily, and then back down. Roll to the other side. Just allow your head to float from side to side. And then maybe at one point in time, as you're bringing your leg up, I'm going to try this on my right side. I'm going to actually roll all the way over and bring the knee all the way up to the wrist and roll back. And bring the other leg up. And I'm going to come into a wide-legged seating position for a moment and grab my bolster and find a wide-legged child's pose. Now, there are many different ways we can do this. If the wide-legged is not working for you, you're welcome to bring your knees together. If this something like I have is not working for your back, you want to be a little bit higher, we can always bring more support in to get us a little bit higher up off of the mat. We don't want to find ourselves in any distress during the practice. We want to feel that pure ease. You can bring your head to the center like this, so you can have your head on one side or another, and we are going to be here for a few minutes in a yin pose. And I'm going to ask you, as you're lying here, we're going to provide a little bit of sound meditation for this. This is going to be a breath meditation. It's going to be something called Nadi Shodhana, but we're just going to do it in the subtle body. So as we're lying here and everyone's lying on their bolster, begin to imagine the breath coming in through your left nostril. The energy of the breath. The breath is coming in through both till it gets to the highest point, and then it's like a waterfall, falls all the way down the left side. Just bring your energy, just bring your awareness to the left side. You'll notice the left side of the body's just getting bigger as you inhale, and the right side, nothing's happening. Let the breath pool in the pelvic floor, and then exhale. Let the body relax, so now it's equalized, and then exhale out the right. Bring the awareness to exhaling out the right. The energy of the exhale, the breath's coming out both. And then continue that cycle several times. And then go the opposite direction from right to left several times, very slowly, and give yourself the pause at the top of the inhale and at the top of the exhale. Okay, we're going to be here for 5 minutes now. And you might want to consider, as we're bringing this energy into our body through the breath, the prana, the energy that rides on the breath. We may want to consider what we are attached to and what we are pushing away, what we have an aversion for, things that aren't really part of the yoga philosophy, psychology, is that we shouldn't be pushing anything away, and on the other hand, we shouldn't be attaching ourselves to anything. Okay, we should be neutral to everything, and it's not a should. That's where our life force wants to be, is in that neutral spot most of the time. So as we're breathing, you might want to think We won't allow any of these attachments. Most of what bothers us, most suffering is from these attachments and aversions. If they come up, just allow them to take a color, allow them to take a sound, something that comes and goes just like these, and allow them to spin away.
My Shri Gurave Namah.
If you haven't switched to the direction of the flow of the breath, do so now.
Om Namah Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Tasmai Shri Gurave
And now, imagine the breath on the inhale coming down both sides, feeling an equal and a quantumous expansion throughout the entire body, and allow that to pool in the pelvic floor and cool. And then imagine the exhale coming right up through the center of your body, out the crown of your head.
Om Namah Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Gurave Shivaya. Tasmai Shri Gurave
Returning normal if it hasn't already. Bring your palms underneath your shoulders. Gently move any paraphernalia that you may have been using out of the way. And let's come back down onto our bellies once again. Alright, so I'm going to ask you to do now is you can stack your hands or put your forehead on your hands, whichever way that feels like. Or if you put your left hand on top of your right, you can turn to the left, whichever way feels right for you. And now, just try to rock your pelvis back and forth. Now you just softly, lazily. Like this is lazy stuff here. We're not trying to get to the end of it. We're just trying to find our pelvis swiveling. And notice what I've done here. We're laying on our chest. We have restrained the movement of the spine into the lower body. And this is a rotation of the spine from the pelvis. You can feel this rotation lazily forming. Come all the way up to the spine. And then turn your head the other way. Put the right hand on top of the left and turn your gaze over the left shoulder. Just notice if that's any different as you lazily. How can I use less effort? Where can I soften? How can I make this easier? Oh, practiced. How can I make it easier? You don't make it easier by working harder. Ever. Anything. How can I make it easier? Now, bend your knees a little bit. Bring them up towards the sky and see how that feels. Notice how the legs want to go along for the ride. Go ahead and allow that to happen. Allow the legs to go along for the ride here. Pelvis just move. Lazy, lazy, lazy. So both the hips and the pelvis and the spine are rotating. So the legs are rotating with respect to the pelvis, and the pelvis is rotating with respect to the spine. Here we're being as easy as we can. Noticing where the weight shift everyone bring their head to the center and bring the hands up underneath their shoulder blades or by the side of the ribs someplace. Allow everything to relax. And now, how can we lift one knee and put it down, and then the other knee and put it down, so that we can actually bring this gentle side by side. And it has to do with allowing the contact of the belly with the earth to increase and to soften the body. We can use the hands to push a little bit. And you'll notice as you begin to repeat this several times, you'll notice you don't need the hands to do this. This is just natural stuff. And sometimes it works easier if the knees are further apart from each other. And this is all about finding that center and lowering the center of gravity and keeping it. Now, go ahead and stop that movement. Extend your legs. We're going to stay on the belly for just a moment here. Now, let's go ahead and cross our arms. Bring the right hand on top of the left. Let's bring the right cheek. The right cheek to the back of the right, to the back of the left hand, and we're looking over the left elbow. So we can lift the left arm. Then just the right leg. Now, lift the arm and the leg for just as much as you can. Now start to roll towards the elbow, and then roll towards the knee, lifting the elbow. So the body from the left, we're keeping part of the body as a rotation. Feel how that pelvis has to move as we do this movement. That's a little bit of twist each way. You might use your right hand to help guide this movement. And then go ahead. And once again, I'm doing a really gross movement here. You might want to cut that down a little bit. Go ahead and turn the head the other way. So we're going to bring the right hand on top of the left. Looking at the left elbow, bending the left knee. Let's go ahead and lift both. Maybe we want to do this once a time or two before we start rocking and rolling. So find this lift and then gently roll. So notice that the left shoulder and the right pelvis are kind of like, that's the axis that we're rolling on, and then back the other way. Notice what's happening in the right knee as the left leg goes back and forth. We're just trying to open up into that diagonal between the right shoulder and the left pelvis. Amount of openness here. If you open your eyes and let your eyes follow your elbow, and then slowly come back down and tuck your toes under and come up into this Sphinx type pose where your forearms are on the mat, your palms are on the mat, your shoulders are on your elbows. Let's try this little oscillation, right? So we're pressing into the toes, heels coming back and forth, but finding that natural movement to the body. If we push it forward, notice if we release, it's going to come back on its own. If I pull it back and release, it's going to come on its own. Just find that natural frequency, like pushing a child on a swing for your body. Relax into the belly, relax into the back, keep the heart lifted. So let's lay ourselves back down now. And instead of having the hands underneath the head, let's bring the hands under the shoulders like this. Okay. And let's bring the knees to standing and bring the knees far apart. Okay, now we're going to do this same thing. We're going to start to look over our left shoulder. Look over the left shoulder. As we look over the left shoulder, allow this leg to begin to move with it. All the way to rest. Follow around to the left shoulder. Might come up a little bit off the floor. This is a very complex movement we're doing here. And maybe some of you start to have an idea of where we're going. Let the legs follow so that the legs come down. Now, I was afraid of this. I'm going to come right into something here. So I'm going to move a little bit this way. So next I'm going to look over my shoulders, follow my eyes, and I bring my left knee to my right foot into our stag pose or deer pose. Let's come back down. Find a place where we can bring that right hand behind us and press the left hand down and follow this trajectory. Follow your eyes back down, get your body, the soft part of the body on the ground, and come back. So once again, I'm going to start to look over my left shoulder, keep looking around into this pose. Last week we came up from our back. This week, this is a very complex movement, but this is movement that humans do every day if you're an active human. And just find this up and down so it's totally reversible no matter how you come into this. Easy and slow. Sometimes the further apart the legs are, the easier it becomes. Okay, we're going to feel that total reversibility. And you don't have to go all the way. If you get stuck someplace, you can go right into that stuck place. Soften, hold that for a moment, and then back off. Come into the stuck place. Or maybe move around a stuck place. Coming straight over, if there's a little catch someplace over here, maybe we can bring our center of gravity way down just like we did the other day. Okay. Now let's go the other way. Let's try it the other way. I'm going to bring my body around. Let's come on to the floor. I'm going to have to do a few more movements. We might not even get to that silly pandiculation I was talking about. So let's see. What are we doing here now? So I'm going to look my right shoulder, my right head going over my right shoulder, looking in the direction I want to go. Allow the legs to start going in that direction too. Allow the legs to come down. Now my legs aren't in the best place here. This leg needs to come up a little bit more. I can feel that now. It's all about this deep body learning. This is crappy for me on this side. And that's bound to happen. Something's wrong here. Looking around. Leg comes over and up. And follow your gaze. Easy all the way. You might even find that eventually you get to where the right hand is doing nothing. And some days the left hand's doing nothing. This isn't that day though. And down several times. And then you might be able to just go from side to side. Like so. Roll around. And if I had the room, we could move our legs to the other side and keep going. That's another lesson of moving your legs to the other side. All right, so why don't we just roll into the stag pose on either side It doesn't matter which side we're coming into. We're going to come into another Yin-pose. So, whichever, this is very similar to what we did last week, but last week we set the bolster this way and we came down, went backwards and sideways. This week we're going to come perpendicular to it with our side. And we're going to bring our hands down. We're going to twist into the bolster for this yin pose. So slowly, once again, trying to find space. Don't crunch up down here. People get close and then they crunch up down here. We're looking for space. Find the space. Move the pelvis back. Extend your lower body. We're not forcing this. I'm breathing into it and finding a comfortable place over this bolster. Okay. Now, we can have our head to the side. We can support the forehead. We can come on the chin. Or if we're really looking for a big twist, we can turn the head all the way around. But I would recommend not doing that. Not in a class like this in particular. All right, so we're going to turn this into a nice little yin pose. But it's going to be a yin pose with a kick. So we're going to do that pandiculation here. So I'm going to bring my hand to the inside of my left knee. And notice I'm going to press the knee into the hand. It's not moving. There's not a lot of movement. I'm organizing. You feel the organizing from all the way deep into your pelvis. Relax everything else. And then slowly relax and allow the weight of the right hand to press a little bit more down. Use your breath to inhale, to expand, exhale. Just put a little pressure from the inside of the knee into the hand. Keep the shoulders soft. Engage. And you might start finding that after a while you start feeling to learn how to engage this leg to put some force. Now this is a movement that you're not probably ever going to actually be able to get into your body. The leg's really not made to move this way, but it's made to be stabilized this way. These are these deep, deep stabilizing muscles. Just a couple more times. Go ahead and give it a rest. And try to allow yourself to melt completely into the bolster for the next several minutes. I think we'll use something there. Did not work so well. Give up that pandiculation whenever you like.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
sideways. Push yourself away from the bolster. Come back into that side seated position and get yourself to the other side. You can roll to the other side. You can just whirl around, whatever feels right for you. And begin to extend yourself out over the bolster on this side, the same way as the other side. Expect it to feel very different, as usual. Now once you find that comfort spot, once you find your breath and your relaxation, go ahead and pandiculate on that side, on your knee. And once again, just noticing differences without telling a story of why one side is different than the other. Just the pure sensation and the awareness and energy of awareness. Just like we can breathe completely different with our awareness. This can make this pandiculation very, very different. It can make your pelvis feel very, very different. stay where you are. You're welcome to stay where you are. Loka samasta sukhino bhavanti. May all beings exist in peace and freedom. And through my thoughts, and my words, and my acts, do I honor and recognize their peace and freedom. This concept in yoga ease is called ahimsa. Om. You guys, everybody's sitting up now. That's okay. That's okay. You can stay down. Seriously, you don't have to do anything in this class. A lot of times a class like this, it's better to do nothing. If you're even coming close to putting forth effort to continue this, it's better to go to sleep than it is to continue. Your body at least gets some rest then, rather than confusion, more confusion. But confusion's not a bad thing. Excuse me?
You can also just visualize doing the movement.
That's right. Visualization is
just
very,
as
very
effective
powerful.
if you can't do it. Doesn't
Actually,
feel right today. Yeah.
Thank you, Tara. In fact,
I
there's,
do it a lot. It works for me very well.
Yeah, there's actually a demonstration that I do where I have people close their eyes. I have them do a little movement on one side, and then I have them close their eyes and visualize doing the movement on the other side, and the improvement on the side that they didn't move on is as much as the side that they did move on. It's all in our head. It's all in our head, no matter what you do.